Welcome everybody. In this video, we are going to look at a number of different ways to open existing projects in Revit. Now, Revit itself has a number of different ways to open existing projects, and this is for projects that you've either started previously and are saved on your personal system, or are saved on your office network, or on some sort of shared drive system, but it's a project that's already been started. I strongly suggest having Revit already open before you open up a project file. I just find it easier that way, and that way you don't get mixed up in case you accidentally open a template file. You don't want to edit template files unless you're actually editing the template file, but you don't want to accidentally open up a template file and then start modeling in your template file by mistake. There are workarounds for it. It's not the end of the world, but it's usually a bit more of a hassle than you really want to put up with on a regular basis. So I strongly suggest having Revit open before you start opening your project files. Now, one of the easiest ways to open a project file is how a lot of people actually do it, is they'll actually open up their folder structure on their computer, their file explorer. They'll navigate through to wherever their projects are located. I'm just going to go to this sample house project here. And it is a Revit project. You can see Autodesk Revit project. And if I just double click on it, it should open up the project file in Revit. And it'll take a second or two. There we go. And the project opens up. And then you can start working on it. So that's one of the easiest ways to do it. Now, it's also one of the ways that I am less inclined to use. Like I said, I prefer to actually open my projects from within Revit instead of actually double clicking project files. But it is a valid option, and there's nothing wrong with double clicking a project file as long as you're comfortable enough and know enough that you're actually working on a project file and not accidentally opening templates. Now, another way to open an existing project file is in the main starting screen of Revit. If it's a project you've worked on recently, and here you can see the sample house is one that I have worked on recently, we have a list of recent projects listed here. And I could simply click on any of these recent projects to open it up, which works really well on projects that you've worked on recently. And again, it brings you to the same spot. You can edit it and navigate through it, do whatever you need to do with the project at that point. Also from the main starting page, you can go to the Open menu. Now this works a little bit better for slightly older files that you haven't worked on recently. And you just go to Open, and it should bring up a file navigation system again, and you can go to your system. However, I'm trying to find out where I've saved my files. But you can navigate through your system. And again, it's almost the same as the first option where you just double clicked on the file. But using the Open menu, navigate through, get to the project you want to open, press the Open button, and the project will open again. So that's the third way to open a project. Now again, like I said, there's like 5 different ways to open projects in Revit, so you're going to need to find the one that you're most comfortable with and that suits your personal needs or needs for the projects you're working on. So the next 2 ways to open projects are similar to the second and third way I just showed you, but instead of doing it from the startup screen, we can use this home button here in the top left, right beside the icon for Revit. This will actually switch us to our workspace. From within the workspace, we can go to the File menu, and as soon as you click the File menu, you actually have a list of recent files here. Now this will list project files, template files, it'll list custom families, it'll list a number of different files that you've worked on recently. So again, I can go to the File menu, click Sample House, and again the file opens. So that's the 4th way to open a project. And then the last way, I'm just going to close this one more time. Again, from the main workspace screen, we go to File, and we go Open, Project, and again navigate through our folder hierarchy or file structure on our computer or the network or wherever we're accessing files from. Select the file we want to open, and then we open the file. And there we have 5 different ways to open an existing Revit project. Find the one that works best for you in your individual situations. Again, if it's a recent file, you have slightly more options than if it's an older file. But all 5 different options work equally well. Just whichever sort of suits your personal needs is the best way to approach it, I would say. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.